It's official, Nintendo has finally announced the next Nintendo Direct to be on
September 14th, 2023.
Man, I love when Nintendo announces Directs on
September 14th, 2023.
I've always said that's the best day to have a Direct. So I'm going to just go through some of my predictions of what we might see here at this Nintendo Direct. As I've done before, I have things divided up into 3 categories: safe bets, could-be's, and long shots. Safe bets are things that are pretty likely, more likely than not, to be present in this Direct. Could-be's are about a 50% chance or so, a little bit more unlikely. And then long shots are really unlikely, but still within the realm of possibility. First up for the safe bets, we've got Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Now, I know we just had its own Direct where they went over a lot of the gameplay elements, but I think there's going to be something about it here. They don't want anyone to forget that this game is coming out. It's probably going to be pretty quick, just a quick snippet of, hey, here's a little bit more Super Mario Bros. Wonder, don't forget, and go pre-order it right now. Next is Super Mario RPG. I think we'll see a little bit more from this game than we will from Super Mario Bros. Wonder. They'll go over some of the changes, the basic story that everyone knows, some of the new additions that we've theorized about, but I don't think they're going to spend all that much time on it. Next, new Nintendo Switch Online games. I don't think there is going to be any new systems announced. Definitely no GameCube is coming to Switch Online. Ever. But we will probably see some games on systems that we already have. I think for the N64 we could see games like Banjo-Tooie, Mario Party 3, or maybe Donkey Kong 64. On the Game Boy, I'd like to see the first Mario Land game, maybe Donkey Kong 94, and the first Wario Land game. And for Game Boy Advance, I think we could see titles like Metroid Zero Mission, Drill Dozer, Mario vs. Donkey Kong. Maybe if they're feeling a little bit wild, we could see the Sonic Advance games come over. Maybe. Last thing for the safe bets, I have Tears of the Kingdom DLC. This is something I think is going to happen and I think is likely going to come out this year. There's been a lot of talk for a while about Wind Waker and Twilight Princess remasters coming into the Switch, and I do think those are coming, but not this year. See, I think Nintendo wants Tears of the Kingdom to be their big holiday seller, aside from like Mario Wonder. They want it to be their Zelda game for the year, and they don't want anything else cannibalizing those sales. And in order to give it that second win that it probably doesn't need but wouldn't hurt, I think DLC would be the perfect thing to implement. I've said it before, but the thing they should do with the DLC is they should just drop a bunch more Sky Islands onto the existing map. There's so much empty space in the sky. There's so much they could do. Just drop them right in there. Adds like 10 or 20 hours of content, charge $30 for it. That'd be perfect. Okay, now moving on to the could-be's. These are getting a little bit more risky. First up, I have a new 2D Yoshi game. The last one of these was Yoshi's Crafted World in 2019. So it's been about 4 years. Yeah, there was a pandemic that might have added a year or so of slowdown in there. But I think it's probably time we're going to be seeing another one. 2D Yoshi is a series that excites no one, but they still keep making them. Trying to reach that high of the first Yoshi's Island. Never getting there, but still trying. Next, we've got a new entry in the Pokemon Legends series following Pokemon Legends Arceus. Legends Arceus, I thought was a quite good Pokemon game, better than a lot of the mainline games have been. And it seemed to have sold well, so I do think we're going to see another one in that style. The only risk here is that the Pokemon Company does kind of do their own thing when it comes to announcing games. They're not always in a Nintendo Direct, so it might not be the kind of thing that shows up in any Direct, but I do think it's coming down the pipeline fairly soon. Maybe a release like spring or summer next year. Next, I've got a weird Kirby spin-off. These pop up every once in a while, usually like a free-to-play Kirby the Fighters or Kirby Bowling or whatever these are. I don't know why they don't seem to be that popular. I guess they make their money back, but ever so often it's just, yeah, another mini Kirby spin-off that's download only and usually free to play. Next one I have for you is Metroid Prime 2 Remastered. So in my predictions video for the last Direct, I said that I thought Metroid Prime 4 was coming this year. I no longer think that, but with what a big splash Prime 1 Remastered made, how well received it was, I think that Prime 2 Remastered is coming down the pipeline fairly soon. There were leaks about it that it was less of a remake than the Metroid Prime 1 game was. It'd be more just like an upscale, maybe a little bit of texture work, but nothing major. But I think with how much great reception the Metroid Prime 1 Remastered game got, I think they might be putting a little bit more effort into it and trying to get that same level of appeal. So even if it isn't coming for a while, I could still see them announcing it here just to get people excited for more from Metroid Prime. Next up, I've got Pikmin 4 DLC. So I have not played Pikmin 4 or any of the Pikmin games for that matter. I know, I'll get to it eventually, but I think announcing DLC for it here makes sense. Sort of like with Zelda, they want Pikmin to be a holiday seller, and adding in DLC just to keep it in the news cycle can help with that. So they could add more levels, I guess, more colored Pikmin, more captains. I don't really know. I don't know how these games work. Okay, now we are into the fun area, the long shots, which are almost impossible, but still technically possible. And so this one, which I knew would come up eventually, the big new leak that everyone's talking about is more Smash Brothers content. It's not really clear on what this might be, but the rumors going around right now is just that Smash Brothers is coming back in some way. Obviously, Smash Bros. Ultimate was a massive sales success. I have a feeling that both the Fighters Passes also sold quite well. So the question is, what do you add to a game that already has so much content in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate? And is Sakurai going to be involved? Because it sounds like he's semi-retired, but also open to coming back, so who knows there? Yeah, it could just be another Fighters Pass with him at the helm, making 5 or 6 more characters to drop in. But it doesn't have to be that. There's a few other things that they could do. There could be a package of new alternate costumes for the existing characters, more Echo Fighters, which I always thought was a concept that never quite hit its full potential. Or they could do a pack of new stages, which is something I would really love to see, like 5 to 10 more stages in the game. Whatever it is, I hope it's not just a new mode, because there's not really much else to add that you don't already have in the existing game. They've got Stage Builder, they've got Home Run Contest, they've got the big single player campaign, which I know not everyone loved, but I thought it was pretty cool. Like, maybe they could bring Smash Run back, and that was fine, it was neat, but it wasn't really that fun to play again and again and again. So if they just add a new mode, it's gotta be something incredible or else everyone is going to hate it. And if it is another Fighters Pass, it is time for Crash Bandicoot. Crash is about to be owned by Microsoft. Xbox and Nintendo are real buddy-buddy these days. Phil Spencer was at Nintendo Live playing Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Come on, it's time. All the stars are aligning for Crash. Okay, next one of these I've got is a Paper Mario Thousand Year Door Remaster. I'll be honest, this is a prediction I'm going to put in every Nintendo Direct predictions video I make until it happens. I am going to will this game into existence. It's just a fantastic game. It's such an approachable RPG for someone who maybe isn't super familiar with the genre. Charming on every level, fantastic environments, interesting characters, cool story. It is such a good game that does not deserve to be stuck forever on the GameCube. So one day, I think it'll happen. One day. But a GameCube remaster that I think is a little bit more likely than Thousand Year Door is the first Luigi's Mansion. And yeah, I know we've got Dark Moon coming out on the Switch at some point soon, but I do think putting the first one out this year prior to Halloween would make a lot of sense. I'd see it probably just as a digital release, maybe even a shadow drop, just a pretty simple upscale of the original game. Thing is, I don't think they could even put it in 16:9 format. It would probably have to be stuck in 4:3 just by how the levels are laid out and how everything on the screen is facing you. I don't know if it would really work to have it in a wider aspect ratio, so that'd be a bit of a challenge for them. But I do think they want to get the full series playable on Switch, and I think it would make sense to get the first game out before the second. I know, that's crazy. The first game before the second? What? So yeah, it doesn't need to have a lot of bells and whistles. You just got to get it out there. ideally in October, get those Halloween vibes, and I think it could be a decent seller. Another game though that does not deserve to be stuck on the original hardware it's on is Donkey Kong Country Returns. It had a port over to the 3DS where you could use the actual buttons instead of the motion controls for attacking, which is a big plus, but it was also 30 frames per second down from 60, so there's not really a definitive version of the game. And the Switch could provide exactly that. It is really a fantastic game. If you haven't played it and you have a way to play it, I would highly recommend it. So they need to get it on the Switch so more people can play it. It's something I do think is going to happen eventually, but just maybe not here. Alright, let's get away from the ports and remasters and talk about what new games they could announce. So one thing I think that would be maybe not super exciting, but interesting to see would be a new Nintendogs. I think there's a market for it on the Switch. It's got so many units sold. They can tap into the casual market here with the Nintendogs IP. Would I be excited to see it? No, but I would understand. Nintendogs has also been something I thought would be really good as a mobile game, but they seem to be moving away from that market, so I don't see that happening. And how about the potential of a new Star Fox game? The last one was Star Fox Zero on the Wii U. Need I say more? The series is in a tough place right now. I think the best route for it, honestly, would be a $20 to $30 downloadable title that's just the rail shooter, just to get it somewhat back on track, because you can't have a rail shooter at a full price of $60 in 2023. It sucks, but you just can't. It won't sell. And if you go too far away from that and add too many like on-ground segments or something, you're gonna annoy the longtime hardcore Star Fox fans. All 7 of them. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with the series, if anything, in the future. But you could see something new announced here. You never know. Okay, last prediction I got. Very much a long shot, a new Wario Land game. The last Wario Land game was Wario Land Shake It on the Wii in 2008, so it's about time for a new one. There's definitely a big appetite for 2D platformers on the system. Maybe they wouldn't announce it here because they don't want it shown alongside Super Mario Bros. Wonder too much, but I hope that it could happen eventually. I'd also like to see a remaster of Wario World from the GameCube. That's a fantastic game. Pretty short, but so good. Everyone needs more Wario World in their life. Everyone just needs more Wario in their lives. Alright, that is going to do it for my predictions. I'm very much looking forward to the Direct. Always happy to see what new games Nintendo has to announce. But more importantly, I'm a big fan of all the drama it usually creates online. That is the real game. Alright, that is the end of the video. Thank you for watching.